10 of the most common and most easily made fashion and style mistakes that we can make in autumn. Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kira and I'm your resident style solutionist. I share videos on shopping for the best basics on the high street, how to build a capsule wardrobe, and lots of fun trend videos. So if that sounds good to you, then do hit subscribe because I would love to have you back for more videos. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about style mistakes, and I'm going to be talking about 10 of the most common and most easily made fashion and style mistakes that we can make in autumn. I myself am definitely guilty of many of these mistakes, and I'm going to talk you through kind of the main ones that we see at this time of year and how to fix them. They're all mostly based around fashion and style. There's a few skincare and self-care ones in there as well, and it's all about looking and feeling your best this autumn. So the very first style mistake that we can all make in the autumn season is going overboard on the trends and diving headfirst into all of the latest autumn fashion trends. Now, I am someone who adores fashion trends, and if you've watched any of my trend videos, I love giving you guys kind of breakdowns and overviews of the biggest trends that we see for the coming season. I have lots of trend videos on my channel. If you want to check them out, I will link them below. But I always caveat in my trends videos that it is so important to focus on the basics of your wardrobe first. So if you find yourself coming into a new season and you feel like your wardrobe is not working for you, if you're finding it hard to get dressed every day, and you start looking at trends to help you with this, then I fear you are going down the wrong path. I am such an advocate of the capsule wardrobe method, and that's basically all about focusing on the key wardrobe basics, the real workhorses in your wardrobe, the pieces that you wear day in, day out, and the really simple, sometimes kind of boring pieces that actually are the foundation of our wardrobes. So if you find yourself this autumn being very tempted by the trends and you want to dive into the Western trend, the bohemian trend, you want to buy all these new pieces to make you feel and look more stylish, I really think you should stop, take a breath, and look at your capsule wardrobe. Look at where the gaps are in your wardrobe. Do you have a great pair of jeans? Do you have a classic blazer? Do you have your kind of go-to knits or cardigans that you can wear on repeat? Do you have a great fitting white t-shirt? I cover all of these in my capsule wardrobe videos. This week I just published my autumn capsule wardrobe video, which is basically a checklist of the kind of most useful items that you can wear this season. So I will link that below. I love trends as much as the next person. They are so fun, and it's a great way to get new ideas for how to style what you already have in your wardrobe. But I do think it is probably one of the biggest and most common fashion and style mistakes that people make is to dive headfirst into trends and to neglect their basics in their wardrobes. We see it all the time. I can be guilty of it, but really I think the only way to fix it is to step back, take stock, and if you feel like you need to do a full wardrobe reset, if you think you need to go back to basics, I also have a video on that as well. I publish one every new year on how to basically kind of reset your wardrobe, and if you feel like you need to start from scratch, it's going to really help you do that. So it will all be linked in the description below. My second fashion mistake that I see so many people making, and I have done this myself, is a very simple one, and it is not cutting out the vent stitch in your autumn or winter coats. I see this all the time. It's a very simple mistake, yes. I've made it so many times, but I do think it can kind of, I don't want to say ruin the look of a garment because that's a little bit dramatic, but I do think it takes away from the chicness of a beautiful coat or blazer. And especially in the autumn season, if we are picking up a new coat or a new blazer and it's obviously a new purchase, it most likely will have a vent stitch in the back. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a stitch that is put in by the manufacturer so that the item will lay properly either in the shop or in transport. It's basically to ensure that the garment sits the way that it should, but it is meant to be removed as soon as you purchase the item. And the reason why is because a lot of our coats, our blazers, our trenches, jackets, they have this vent in the back panel, and this means that it will flow really nicely when you walk. It means it sits really nicely over the kind of back curvature of our bodies, our backs. It just is to make the garment flow better, and when you cut the vent stitch, it can kind of billow and gape. You can notice this with blazers and shorter jackets, but especially with a longer coat. that it's really necessary to cut it. I mean, I'm being dramatic here, but sometimes when I see a beautiful billowing trench that is like held together with this vent stitch, it makes me a bit sad. I've never actually said it to anyone. I would never go up to anybody on the street and tell them that they need to cut their vent stitch, but I have created videos around this before over on TikTok, and I've had people say, oh gosh, I didn't realize I must go and cut my vent stitches. Is this the biggest deal in the world? No, but it is an easily fixable mistake that we can implement to make our clothes look and sit and ultimately feel better. Mistake number 3 is neglecting our skin in the autumn winter months. This is a mistake that I myself have made many times. It's actually in the early autumn that I need to really focus on my skin's health so that it is healthy and ready as we come into the colder, harsher months of winter. Whether it is sensitivity or dry skin or irritated skin will often flare up in autumn winter. My biggest skincare hack is at-home LED light therapy. It definitely is the kind of biggest thing to hit the at-home skincare market in years. So you may remember I've spoken about this brand before, but I have a new launch from the French skincare brand Nuance Paris. If you don't know about Nuance Paris, they are a cutting edge French skincare brand. The French know how to do skincare so well, and their products are really backed by science and technology. There is so much research and development put into their products, and their newest launch, not to be dramatic, but it is the Ferrari of at-home LED masks. This is the Nuance Paris Elite X600. The reason it's called the X600 is because it has 600 precisely placed LEDs. This is over triple what many of the other LED masks on the market have. See here how many different light receptors there are, and the results that you can get from at-home LED light therapy are incredible. In one of my previous videos where I talked about Nuance Paris, I showed you guys some photos of my skin. It is a little bit of a jump scare, I will show it here again. I had extremely sensitized, irritated skin. It was kind of like a form of dermatitis, and it was not only painful, but also it really affected my confidence, especially with my work. I do so much filming and shooting, just not a great time for my skin. What massively helped me was stripping back on my actives and kind of simplifying my skincare routine and building a routine of LED light therapy. If you look at something that you can use every single day and you're looking at a cost per use, I would argue that at-home skincare devices are better than facials in a clinic, and I know that might make some people mad. For me personally, it helped strengthen my skin barrier. What that meant was basically my skin was calmer, it wasn't as reactive, it wasn't as sensitive. Calmer skin will always look its best, but there are a host of other benefits that you can get from using these regularly. Firmer, plumper skin, a reduction in fine lines. It's also amazing for scarring, so if you are someone who has acne scarring, what I always recommend is to have this near your bed in the evening. I keep it in its little handy carry pouch, so it just keeps it kind of clean and dust free, and then I can pop it on in the evening. What I love about this new updated Elite X600 model is because it is so powerful, which means you don't have to use it every evening, because as I said, it has 600 different light receptors. They're all sitting at a 90-degree angle, which gives this like skin-like finish to the mask. It means that it's pressed really well, but also very comfortably on your face. So what they recommend is with just 3 uses of 10 minutes each per week, you can see all of these results. The flexible design of the mask fits to all the contours of your face. A lot of masks don't actually target the eye area, which I know is a huge concern for many of us. It has all of the receptors on the inside around the eye area, which is a big thing for me. This is an investment in your skin. It's something that if you are going to be consistent with it, you can bring your cost per use right down. It is going to work out as being so much cheaper than going into a salon and booking in for red light therapy. Nuance Paris have given me an exclusive 15% off discount, which you can use across their site. I will leave it here and in the description below. They are having a very exclusive limited time sale to celebrate the launch of this mask, and my discount code is stackable against the 20% off promotion that they are running for this mask. If you are someone who is looking to try out LED light therapy at home and you want to see the benefits for yourself, then now now is the time. I don't see them doing a better discount than this. This current promotion is better than their Black Friday sale. Do let me know in the comments if you try out this mask, so I really want to know what you think. So moving on, let's look at another common fashion mistake we can make in autumn, and that is wearing too much black. The irony of me wearing a black top while I'm telling you this is not lost on me, and I feel like in a lot of my recent videos I don't think I've worn black once, so it's honestly Murphy's Law that I'm wearing it today. I used to be someone who would wear a lot of black. Black is so chic, it is a fail-safe, it always looks good. However, I do think it is a fashion mistake to overdo black. I know that when I started adding, let's say, more neutrals or lighter colors or even more color in general into my wardrobe, I had so much more fun with fashion, but also I really think it helped my outfits look more put together and just feel a bit more fun and interesting. Now, once again, I'm not saying that you need to dive headfirst into color. For me, I like to have a few colors that I will have little pops of. And in the last few years, I've included more burgundies and reds. This year, I've been including more like deep blues. I'm also a big fan of navy. I find that really easy to style. It goes with everything. And also browns are so easy to work with. Now, I know brown isn't the most exciting color, but to me, it is a color that is very much a neutral, very easy to style, but is more exciting than black. You can still have a lot of your key pieces be black and add just a few pops of color here and there. For example, you can take this black puff sleeve top, you can wear it with a pair of dark blue denim jeans, a pair of black boots, maybe a pop of burgundy in your handbag, and you have an outfit that is still very wearable. It's not too bright, but it has a little injection of color. When it comes to adding color into our wardrobes, if you're someone who is very much a dark color or a neutral gal and you do not wear a lot of color, then I think the safest way to introduce this is with your accessories. Rather than investing in coats, blazers, you know, big pieces of clothing in colors, maybe go for a scarf, a hat, a pair of gloves, even maybe a handbag or a pair of shoes. I think it's a great way of introducing color at the kind of edges of our outfit, because I feel like our accessories are usually on the top, they might be on the bottom, or they might be on, let's say, our hands or our feet. So I find it's a great way to include color and do just a nod or a pop as opposed to a head to toe color, which can be very daunting. Mistake number 5 that we can all make in autumn is living in our athleisure wear. I hold my hands up and say I can absolutely be guilty of this, especially because I often work from home. When I'm in the city and I am going to meetings or events or I'm shooting content, you best believe I am dressed up and absolutely loving it. I love getting dressed up for my days in the city. However, when I'm working from home, I can sometimes tend to just wear my comfies all the time. And this is something that I find even when I'm wearing, it could be a pair of comfy, soft, baggy denim jeans and a cozy knit. That is still incredibly comfortable. However, I find that I feel so much more put together. I feel so much more productive, and it's just more enjoyable. I know that there are days where comfort really is key and I want to be really snug and cozy, especially if I'm doing a lot of editing or something like that. But I do find that for days where even I'm meeting someone for a coffee, I might be going for, you know, a weekend walk with Yosef, sometimes I will go towards my athleisure wear when I actually don't need to. And it's such a pity because we spend all this time putting together our wardrobes and finding these pieces that we love and finding comfortable chic clothing to then just kind of default to a pair of leggings and a pullover. So, you know, I think it's something that I am definitely still guilty of it, especially when I'm going on the dog walk, because whether it's Remy or other dogs that I meet, my clothes get dirty. So often you'll find me in wellies, although I have a very chic pair of wellies that I added to my wardrobe that I love. Side note, they're from a French brand called Le Chameau. They're stunning and so comfortable. What I'm trying to find now is like a chic, comfortable, warm, water repellent dog walking coat. Something maybe from Barber that I absolutely love, that's comfortable, but also, you know, is kind of stylish as well. So it is always a work in progress, but I do think living in our athleisure wear is definitely a fashion mistake. And I think all of us can probably work on it a little bit more in autumn winter. Mistake number 6 is one that I think is so important in the autumn winter season, and it is neglecting your accessories. I always harp on about how important accessories are. They can take the most basic pair of jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and a knit and make it something interesting, exciting and chic. They can just really make or break a look. And I really love finding accessories that add a little bit of interest to what I feel is very much a capsule wardrobe. Most of my core basics, as I always say, are basics. They are nothing too crazy. Everything is like comfortable, functional, chic, easy to throw on. However, my accessories are where I have a little bit of fun. As we come into autumn, we are living in our coats, our trenches, our heavy knits, our blazers. Accessories are a way of making those outfits that bit more exciting and that bit more intentional. But I find that scarves and printed scarves are the best way to add interest to any outfit. Also, there's 101 different ways that you can style them, whether you're doing different types of like wrapping techniques and kind of wearing them in different styles like a cravat, or, you know, wrapping them around your waist. There is just so many ways to style scarves. I think neglecting accessories, especially in autumn winter, really does mean that you're missing out on that extra personality and flair in your outfits. I'm not saying your accessories need to be wacky and wild and wonderful, but even just little pops of color here and there, maybe even a little bit of texture. I find that textured accessories in autumn winter, such as a little bit of shearling, a little bit of faux fur, a little bit of like croc effect, it can really do so much to add interest to our outfits. I do have some roundup videos on my favorite capsule wardrobe accessories for autumn winter, so I will link those in the description below. They have kind of my favorite boots, bags, scarves, gloves, all of that stuff that really in autumn winter is just so essential. So mistake number 7 that we can make with our autumn wardrobes is over layering and wearing too much fabric. I find that layering is key to staying warm in autumn winter, right? It's so important. We have to layer, we have to be comfortable, we have to be warm. However, I think that you can be a little bit careful about the types of fabric that you're layering and how much you're layering so that you don't go overboard. You know, it is chilly, it doesn't get quite cold until winter, and even then quite cold is very relative to where you live in the world. But I do think that you can get away with wearing, you know, a lighter knit paired with, let's say, a wool blazer, and you're cozy enough. Even when we get into the parts of the year where we're wearing our heavier coats, I think that you can have something oversized on top with lots of fabric, and then you can usually do something a little bit more fitted or slimline on the bottom. If I'm doing, let's say, a big structured shoulder statement blazer, for example, I will usually pair it with something fitted on the bottom, like a pair of straight leg kind of slim fitting jeans, or I will do like a slinky kind of midi skirt in a satin fabric, something that's not overwhelming. However, sometimes in the winter, I think that we can gravitate towards wearing a pair of loose fitting jeans or baggy jeans, maybe a pair of loose tailored trousers. Then we might do a chunky oversized knit, then we might do a coat on top, then we might do a scarf. Even if it feels very comfortable, I would say that by, you know, taking away a few layers and maybe getting clever with your layering, you can still be just as warm without adding that much volume. And how you do this, I think, is with base layers. So looking at things like Heat Tech long sleeve shirts. I know M&S have some fantastic ones. They're so affordable. I've bought them before. I actually need to dig mine out coming into winter now because they're so comfortable. I know brands like Uniqlo do amazing Heat Tech products as well. They do long sleeves, they do bodysuits, they do t-shirts. I think this is such a clever thing that a lot of us forget to do. You can get so many thin, comfortable versions on the high street. There is a brand called Swedish Stockings that does a cashmere long sleeve. It's like a thermal base layer, and oh my goodness, it is so luxurious. And oftentimes if you're wearing these under your heavy knits, they're even more comfortable because it's a layer between your skin and the knit that you're wearing. So if you're sensitive to any of that kind of material, these base layers are going to have that double purpose. They'll keep you warm, but they'll also keep your skin itch free or chafe free. I cannot recommend thermal layers enough. Mistake number 8 is one that is so commonly made, especially in autumn, and it is impulse buying. Now, this kind of ties into my first mistake, which is jumping into the trends. But impulse buying in general, I think, is something that I have definitely worked hard on not doing anymore. The temptation is still there, don't get me wrong. Every so often, I will see something that I will know is going to be a very good buy, and I will purchase it quickly. But that is because I have spent so much time honing my capsule wardrobe. I make these videos all the time, so sometimes I feel like I can kind of know pretty quickly if something is going to be such a good purchase. Impulse buying in general is not a good thing. Whether it is the flashy, trendy item that everyone on, you know, Instagram and Pinterest is suddenly wearing, whether it is like the newest piece that everyone's talking about, I really do try and hold back. And actually, if it's something that I see everyone wearing, then I'm even less likely to want it. I feel like the culprit this season is the viral Zara suede bomber jacket. I have been seeing it everywhere on my For You page. I've been seeing it everywhere on Pinterest, on TikTok. It is a a gorgeous jacket, and it is well priced as well. It's like a faux suede material, kind of like a slouchy fit. It's a gorgeous jacket. I can see why it's so popular, but because I have seen hundreds of people with this jacket on my For You page, I am less likely to go for it. Whereas before, if I saw that many people wearing it, it would create that real impulse to pick it up myself as well. But what I will probably do is go out of my way to try and find something a little bit different. Maybe even if this is faux suede, maybe I might go for a suede version or a leather version, and to go for something that is probably going to be that little bit more unique to me. There's nothing wrong with multiple people having the same item, especially if something is well priced, and Zara often do come out with, you know, decent coats and outerwear at this time of year, especially for a really good price. But I do think that impulse buying, it does me no favors. I end up with pieces that I don't actually love, and then I have buyer's remorse. And it could be an impulse buy that is, you know, under 50 euro, or it could be an impulse buy that's a couple of €100, which you are really going to regret. I always say to stop and wait and think about it. I will link in the description below my wardrobe reset video, which looks at how to use things like Pinterest to get really clear about what you need for your wardrobe, so that you can have something that you can focus on and you can direct your attention to, as opposed to feeling like you want all of those impulse buys. Mistake number 9 is a big one coming into autumn, but even more so coming into winter, and it is neglecting your base layers. Now, I touched on this in my tip about not over layering or wearing too much fabric, but base layers are so important. And it's not just the thermals that I've mentioned, but I'm also talking about your base layers in general. So let's say your t-shirts, your tank tops, your long sleeve tops, even your underwear. Coming into autumn winter, it's kind of a season where we can be a little bit more uncomfortable. We're wearing more fabric, the weather is usually colder, we're going from hot to cold in that we have the cold weather outside and then the heat is blasting indoors. And I think it is really important to have comfortable fabrics on our skin, whether it is our underwear, even our socks. And I know for me, I used to neglect my underwear terribly. I would have like pieces that I would have for years that were functional but just didn't look very good, and actually some of them were falling apart, I will say. In the last few years, I definitely have overhauled my underwear drawer. It's not that I'm spending huge amounts on it, absolutely not. I'm just going to brands like, let's say, Marks and Spencer. I also love brands like Intimissimi is a great one. I think they're an Italian brand. They do amazing bras and underwear and just really, really good quality for a very affordable price. And I find that it's made all the difference. You know, in winter, if I start with great base layers, if I have like comfortable thermals, nice cozy socks, like a comfortable bra, everything looks a bit better on top. I really do believe that a bad fitting bra or, you know, really bad fitting underlayers can actually really make or break an outfit, certainly for occasion wear as well. I have a roundup video that I did last year all about my top recommendations for shapewear, seamless pieces, whether it's for occasion wear, different types of bras and like multi-way bras. So I will link that in the description below because it actually has some really great recommendations in there. Now, the final mistake we can all make in autumn winter is a very easy fix, and it is letting your knitwear bobble. Once again, this is a mistake that I've made many a time, and like with leaving your vent stitch on your outerwear, it's a very easy fix. When it comes to bobbling knitwear, there's actually really no way to avoid it bobbling. It's just something that happens. Even if you have, you know, a beautiful high quality cashmere jumper, it is likely that the cashmere fibers are eventually going to like pill a little bit or bobble, and there are so many easy ways to get rid of it. If you don't want to buy anything, you can use a simple razor and you can essentially shave your knit down. However, I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend buying a debobbler. They're so affordable. I will link one below on Amazon that I have. It is, I think, under €10, and it just takes batteries and it has this interesting shaving system. It makes like a really funny noise and it basically eats all of the bobbles on your knitwear without damaging it at all. So what I tend to do, and I'm actually reminding myself that I need to do this over the next week, is to take out my most worn autumn winter pieces like my wool coats, my knits, check them over and see if there's any bobbling. One thing that we can often find with our blazers on our coats is we will get bobbling along the inside of the sleeves, because this is where we kind of rub our fabric the most when we walk. The inside kind of seam of the item is always the place where it will have the most friction, and then with knits in general, they will just bobble over time. You don't really need to do this that often, but it's amazing what it can actually do to a coat. I have a wool coat that I got from ASOS a few years ago, and it has worn me so well. It doesn't owe me a penny. And last year coming into autumn, I used a debobbler on it for the first time. It was like I had a brand new coat. The difference it made was amazing. And I think we live in this culture where when something starts to look a bit tired, the automatic assumption is to get rid of it and get a new one. But I knew that with something like a debobbler, it actually gives it a new lease of life and it looks so much better. Very satisfying. So I will link it below. Maybe you're a devout debobbler fan. Let me know in the comments below. So there you have it, guys. That is 10 of the most common fashion and style mistakes that we can make in autumn winter. Do let me know in the comments below which of these mistakes are you guilty of, or are there any other fashion and style mistakes that you're willing to admit to us in the comments? I would love to know. If you liked these roundup videos, then do give me a thumbs up to let me know. And if you have not already, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week and I would love to have you back for more. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.